look at residential electricity prices, you can see they're up 5.5% over the past 12 months. That is more than double the pace of the overall inflation in the US economy. And this is exactly the opposite of what President Trump promised.
Oh boy, is it, both in general that he said there'd be no inflation, and inflation is going up. But that in particular with electricity, he said he was going to massively improve that situation. In fact, things are worse than they've been for years and years, and really, really bad in some states. In Maine, it's gone up 26% electricity prices just over the last year. New Jersey's 25%, but you can also find double-digit increases in Wyoming, Utah, Illinois, and a number of other states. Here in California, the situation's really bad. It's kind of always been bad though, so I don't know the exact percentage, but it is a problem. So why? Why is it as bad as it is? Take a look.
Why is this happening? Well, analysts say there's really been a perfect storm of factors that are combining to drive up electric bills. Starting with on the demand side, normally electricity demand barely moves. That's not happening anymore, in part because of the rise of electric vehicles. But the bigger factor is artificial intelligence and the data centers that power the AI boom. They are consuming enormous amounts of energy. By some estimates, data center energy demand has tripled over the past decade and is expected to double or triple again by 2028. On top of that, you look at the supply side. Well, analysts say that the Trump administration's efforts to keep alive coal power plants that were slated to be retired, that's just adding to the costs here. And then you've got all the pressure from the Trump administration on clean energy, solar, but especially wind.
So there are a lot of things that are contributing to this, and some of it is stuff that I think needs to happen. I mean, we do want more electric vehicles, but more electric vehicles is gonna strain the grid. It's a small percentage of the increase, and it's not really widely distributed. Some areas are gonna have it a lot more than others, but it's a reminder that we do need to modernize our electrical grid. We need to increase energy storage. We need to do all of that stuff. And some people like environmentalists and Green New Deal activists have been calling for that for years, but they were ignored, and so we end up in the situation we're in. But thankfully, that's a small part of it. No, we've been talking for months about these data centers, and they are a big part of it. In some areas, they're the driving force for this. And it's only gonna get worse, as they detail in that segment, from here on out. It's going to double or it's gonna triple by the next presidential election, the demand of electricity of these data centers. And yet nobody really seems to be talking about it. But the reason I wanted to cover this wasn't for that. We've talked about that before. There's a couple of the other things that were mentioned there. Why would him continuing these coal plants raise prices? I mean, the coal plants produce electricity. Them being around should actually lower prices, right? Well, no, actually, in a lot of areas, these coal plants are not needed. Capacity is not a problem in this area. There's other forms of electricity generation, including renewables. And so it's time to decommission these, in many cases, not only polluting, but also really inefficient coal plants. Trump is saying, no, you can't do that. You have to continue to operate these, even though it's gonna cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's not a position intended to lower prices. It's just an ideological position that he wants coal to be a part of the situation, even if it's costing money. And then, as they pointed out, he's also killing these renewable programs, and that is a big problem. One project that he killed, Revolution Wind, would have provided enough power off the coast of Rhode Island to power more than 350,000 homes. He killed it, again, just an ideological position. That is gonna cost, according to one estimate, ratepayers in Rhode Island $500 million every year, because they don't have that extra energy production in Rhode Island. And these are the sorts of ideological, boneheaded, self-destructive choices that Donald Trump is making, that combined with the underlying problems that are already there, we're using more electricity and all that, he's choosing to make it worse. Sharon, what do you think?
And if people think that once he's gone, the effects won't still be felt, they will be. We are losing ground, hand over fist, in way of technology, scale backs for environment. As people continue to die of black lung disease, he's convincing the crowds to say, yeah, make America great again. And it sucks, okay? We can't keep up Regular people cannot keep up with the prices and everything else that's going to go with that. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, what should happen is this should be a big, like imagine, like Zoran Mandani ran on a lot of pocketbook issues and everything that are sort of local to New York. Like you run for president on a comprehensive plan to actually bring down electricity costs that affects almost everyone in America. And we have people in the chat saying their bill went up 40%. One person saying it more than doubled, and it's likely to do that again by 2028. So don't wait until then. Put together the plan, start advertising it right now, and combine it with other issues of inflation and the cost of housing, the cost of health insurance, and all of that. That is how you make the mark. You benefit yourself politically, but then also actually solve the problem. That's what we need to see.